Hi everyone, thanks for making a left turn for today, Friday, the 4th of July, 2014. I'm George Farrar and welcome back to the Jack's Left channel. I have a special for you today. It's called George's Arlington. I'm going to look back, I'm going to reflect about Arlington and my life in the late 70s, early 80s. And boy, back then, this place was hopping. Right now we're on the Arlington Expressway, and we're about to approach Arlington Road, and I'm going to share with you my neighborhood, where I grew up, and some of the interesting experiences I've had. And so what a fun time here on the Jack's Left channel. And so please stand by. I'm about to go ahead and get off of the expressway, off of Arlington Road, and I'm just about to do it. I'm just about to say it. Let's roll it. I grew up in the Arlington Manor neighborhood of Arlington from the summer of 1978 to the summer of 1983. And we're now about to make a left-hand turn onto Morgana Road. I'm on Lone Star Road, turning onto Morgana. These homes, these houses were built in the early 1950s. The house I'm going to show you, where I grew up, was built in 1951. It was an old house. It had a furnace, and I had a lot of good times. I had a great backyard. And of course, as you get older, you grow up. What seemed like such a big neighborhood, or big street, is really not as big as it was growing up, of course. And to the right, 1477 Morgana Road. I lived here from the summer of '78 until the summer of 1983 in this house with my father, Terry Farrar, who was an engineer at Channel 12 and then later Channel 4, where he spent most of his career, was at Channel 4. And with my stepmother, who was a homemaker at the time, and with my baby brother, TJ, John, and he died in 2007. My father died in 2005. The neighbors around here, at one point there was an elderly couple, the Greens, who lived in this house. In this house, which looks like it's for sale, you know, the Barons. It's amazing, though. It is amazing. There's a huge tree in the backyard, as I said, was amazing. Now let's check out Arlington Heights Elementary. I spent the early 1980s at Arlington Heights Elementary School in the first grade and second grade. My first grade teacher was Miss Johnson. My second grade teacher was Miss Wilson. And you know, it's important in life to get a good start. And I got that good start here at Arlington Heights Elementary. Sometimes I would get rides home from the neighbors, and we would meet at the flagpole for the ride home. Arlington Heights Elementary. growing up in Arlington in the late 70s and early 1980s, I would really enjoy my weekends at Jacksonville's retail mecca, the Regency Square Mall. It was built in 1967 and quite an amazing place. As a youngster, I would once in a while meet my mother along with my father and my stepmother at the Woolworths restaurant. Woolworths had a restaurant back then, a lunch counter and a restaurant area. And there was a Piccadilly. So once in a while on Sundays, I'd be going to dinner after church at the Piccadilly. Lots of different stores, B. Dalton, Radio Shack, JCPenney, Sears opened at the mall in 1981, and then a new wing was added. So a lot of walking, a lot of fun times. I enjoyed eating the cookies at there's a cookie place, and so fun time. And now, of course, the mall is a little bit different. They're working on building up their occupancy. Things have been a little bit different since I think around the early to mid 1990s at the mall. But I do hope that it can really get itself together and going. And I'm optimistic about the future of Arlington.
Here is what used to be the Arlington Theater. I'm not going down Lone Star Road, and a lot would happen on Lone Star Road growing up. This is where I would go shopping with my stepmother and my dad, and also where I would attend church. There's also a laundromat down here. These were the early days of growing up. I wasn't always a big fan of going to the supermarket. And in the early 1980s, this was the Winn-Dixie supermarket, and this was pick and save. You could get anything I think you really needed out of these two stores. And if you were hungry for fried chicken, there was the Kentucky Fried Chicken, and behind it a convenience store and the laundromat. I believe it was like Coin King or Coin Kingdom or something. But now, of course, you can see that the economics of my old neighborhood have changed, and now it's Evangelic Center and a charter school, it looks like. Lone Star Road, and we're now going to check out where, as a youngster, I would worship. As a youngster in the early 1980s, I attended the Reorganized Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, which was an offshoot of the Mormon Church before the Mormons went to Utah. And I was baptized. I was baptized in this church. It's now called the Community of Christ. But the symbol on the sign was essentially the symbol of the church in the early 1980s, so it still is. And so the church played a role in my formative years, in the early years, the foundation years of my youth. I was baptized here. Good people, great people that I would come to know. But I moved on in my life, and I'm an agnostic now. But there were some very basic values and certainly some good feelings out of the congregation of this church in the early 1980s. In the summer of 1983, I moved to Mandarin, and it was a different feeling, and the folks were different. And I would come back here to this church. If anything, it was a constant in my life in the early 80s to the mid 80s until my family split in February 1988. But I can be thankful for the neighborhood, the community, the neighborhood that I lived in Arlington, the neighbors, the congregation, the people that helped get me on the right course growing up. Thanks for watching this episode of History Jacksonville. You not only saw Jacksonville history, but you had a chance to see my history, and I thank you for watching. Take it easy. See you later.